has won the toss and elected to defer. Minnesota State Mankato will receive on this end. Okay?
The NSIC would like to thank Wilson, the official football of the NSIC. Out on the stage will kick off for the Huskies. Back to for the Mavericks, number 6, Justin Terramina. Temperature today at kickoff at Blakesley Stadium, a beautiful 48 degrees with a wind out of the east at 9 miles per hour. A perfect day for homecoming football. Make some noise for your Minnesota State Mavericks.
Kick is underway as we're underway here at the Blake. Terramina back to return the kick. Great kickoff return by Justin Terramina out through their own 29-yard line. Minnesota will set up shop here.
Run out of bounds by number 34, Alec Haferman.
Now let's see what this third-ranked scoring offense here in the NSIC can do today.
64 yards on the kickoff, 28 on the return, first down and 10 for the Mavericks at the 29-yard line.
Getting the start at quarterback today. Big hole off the left side. Nate Gunn takes it out past the 50 for a Maverick first down. Great job by the offensive line up front.
14,
Colin Prosser has this offensive line clicking this year.
Maverick.
Nate Gunn alone averaging $107 a game here, and it continues with a big open run. And the gun now to far side. Double tight end here. Now back. Nice catch over the middle. Justin Arnold in traffic there. Just short, a couple yards short of the first down. So far, first two plays looking good for this high-powered Maverick offense.
7-yard gain on the play, second down.
Looking like the 12th rated passer here in the nation early on, sticking a dime there across the middle. What a great jump cut by Nate Gunn.
For the Mavericks.
Offensive line opened up some big creases early on. They moved the chains once again.
Parker Buckley. And number 55, Jack Porter.
This offense, though, it's very simplistic. They'll give you many looks. They'll give you a different look every time, although it may be the same play. Hurry up, right to the line. RPO. Gunn again for a gain of 5. Just gashing the Husky defense so far.
Tackle made by number 14, Jamiri Manuel.
Looking to slow things down here a little bit. Going to get in the huddle here.
5-yard gain on the play, second down.
Number 1 wide receiver, Shane Zylstra at the top here. It's like tight man coverage shown by the Huskies. He's looking deep, a fade route to Zylstra. Big catch, I don't know, it could go either way here. It looks like Zylstra was able to get the pass interference call.
For number 84, Shane Zylstra.
That's a great job by number 84, using his body position along the sideline. Let's see where this call goes here. I do believe the Husky defender got hands on number 84, Zylstra there before the ball came down, so I think we're gonna have a Maverick first down here. There was some hand jostling going on, so let's see.
Pass interference, number 28 on the defense. 15-yard penalty from the previous spot. Automatic first down.
And that it is. Pass interference on the defense, giving the Mavericks another first down here. Moving the ball at will early here in the first quarter. The timing there was almost perfect from Schlichty to Zylstra. Quick snap and quick release and got it out. But we get the PI and we're first and 10 here on the, let me see, 14, excuse me. Offensive line coach Prosser getting the hand signals in here. And a fumble and recovered by Huskies.
Nate Gunn on the carry. Fumble on the play. Recovered by number 47, Zach Stecklin. Husky football.
And here are the Huskies setting up shop inside their own 5. As they are in the pistol formation, you got 2 wide receivers and a lone back. 2 tight end set, signals the wide receiver in motion. Hands it off up the middle to the left side. That's a gain of a couple.
Greg Lewis, the ball carrier.
Great job by the defensive line there, squeezing down those running lanes, making it hard to get any traction there. Holding them a 1-yard gain.
And one of the things that this Minnesota State defense is trying to do is try to shut them down in the first quarter because they've had a tremendous issue. They are being outscored in the first quarter even though they are the #1 ranked team in the nation. As the Huskies come out with a 4 wide receiver set, motions its tight end, and hands it off to the right side. Finds the crease, finds a little bit of run room, but is met at the line of scrimmage. And not brought down, but he is stopped. And they're saying it's about a gain of 1.
Tackle made by number 3.
Zach Dodge, again, perennial All-American here. Taking that guard and just throwing him into hole. No lane there whatsoever. This 5th-ranked national rushing defense holding opponents to an average of 61.8 yards a game. 5th best in the nation here. They're proving it why here. Big 3rd down.
6 yards to go.
And Justin Check has got his offense into a 3rd and medium situation as he fakes the throw and then he runs it up the middle for a big gain. And he's met and tackled by number 36, Keyshawn Davis. As last time we were at home, Keyshawn Davis was everywhere in the field on defense and in special teams. This kid is a one-way player, but he is one of the biggest powerhouses that Minnesota State has on their special teams unit.
17-yard gain on the play. First
As
down.
that was a gain of 17, it's a first down and 10 for St. Cloud State. As checks his backfield, signal it, and I think this might be a free play as the defensive line from Minnesota State gets there, but he falls ahead for a gain of 1.
Got to be a little bit more disciplined up front. They're ready to go to get after a quarterback. When you see a 4-wide set here, we just got gashed on the drop, but more often than not, these teams are going to come out with a knockout blow early. Playing against a #1 team. Every team they play from here on out, since they're #1, they're going to give their best uppercut, come out swinging, try to stun them. And as Brian alluded to early, the Mavericks slow starting in the first quarter, but always seem to pick it up here.
And that was on the sophomore, Chance Bowen. 6'4", 260, out of New Hope, Minnesota. He's out of Armstrong High School. As you can tell, right now there's 4 wide receivers, 2 right and 2 left to Check. Check hands it up the middle, and he's met right away at the line of scrimmage, but falls ahead for 2.
Greg Lewis on the carry.
And Greg Lewis with the carry. He's a 5'7", 192-pound senior, and they're looking to rely on him as Minnesota State keeps trying to put fresh bodies there on the defensive line.
2-yard gain on the play, 2nd and 3.
And as we're getting to here, as I alluded to before, Minnesota State's defense in the first quarter tends to start off a little bit slow and they give up tremendous points, but when it comes to the second quarter, they try to do everything they can. As Czech just rolls up to his right and throws that one away as he receives pressure from Chance Bowen.
Great job rolling into a man coverage there. It looked like they gave him a zone look from the snap, pre-snap, but switched it up. It had nowhere to go and just floats it over the wide receiver's head out of bounds. Big third down.
As it's third down and a couple, Czech looks to convert like they did last time. As he's got two wide receivers right, none left. But a two tight end formation as he sends one in motion. And there it is. There's a flag on the play. It looks like there's a false start on the Husky offensive line.
Right on the set. Full start. Number 78 on the offense.
And that was a snap infraction by the center. Number 78, Parker Mathewson. Parker Mathewson is a 6'3", 305-pound sophomore. As I'm looking here at their offensive line unit, and they are just absolutely ginormous. There's no one short of 6'3" and less than 300 pounds. That is some big boys up there in the front for the Huskies. As Czech drops back, the pass looks over the middle, and it's tipped. And they cannot convert on the fourth down as it's 4th down and 8. And here comes the Huskies punting unit as Justin Arnold drops back to receive the punt.
Another great job. Minnesota State here, one of the best teams in the conference on third down opponent conversion there. Holding teams to just 31.5% third down conversion, and they're proven why they're the 4th ranked in that category this year.
Number 27, Justin Arnold.
Back to punt for the Huskies is Adam Stage. This is Stage's first punt of the afternoon. As he punts it, Arnold's moving to his right. And that goes, and it keeps rolling, and it goes inside the 25. And the Huskies, or the Mavericks, excuse me, will set up shop inside the 25 at the 24.
Yeah, one of those things you're seeing more and more of in college football and in the pros is this Australian-style rollout, kicking on the run kind of thing. The ball doesn't take the same kind of end-over-end bounce and more of a sideways roll, and that really benefited the Huskies punt team right there. But offense, again, moving at will here, and I think they're going to continue this time. Hopefully no turnover, and we can finish the drive.
And now in for that quarterback for the Mavericks is JT Akawa. As Akawa is under center and he hands it off to Gunn. Gunn rushes to the left and gains about 1.
You know, one thing about this Minnesota offense that I think makes it really challenging for the other team to game plan from is this 1-2 combo here at quarterback. Schlichty, your more traditional step drop back, pocket passer, and then you can mix it up with JD's ability to find open spaces and make big crease runs off the edge here.
As Akawa is under center, fakes the handoff to Gunn, drops back, receives some pressure, tries to elude it to the right, and is just going to throw it away. And as we set up here, as you alluded to here, Jordan, we're seeing more of that two-style quarterback play in the college league.
Third down.
You know, the Mavericks, it's really hard to play and to set up a game plan for when you're sitting here. You know, you got Iwakawa and Schlichty. And Schlichty is your traditional, more accurate passer, but Akawa can pass it, and I think that's what's something that through Concordia St. Paul last home game, and they just didn't have any preparation for it. I mean, Schlichty ran the ball, he ran for 2 touchdowns, and then Iwakawa was more the passing threat in that game. As he throws it underneath, and he is set up, and that is a quick 3 and out here for the Mavericks. And as you see on the Husky sideline, the players are absolutely fired up, and they're just, they came ready to play. As 15 Benarski sets up shop back.
You know, one thing with Casey Bedarski, and it's one of the underrated things you see in Division II and even lower level college football, is having a kicker that can change the field like this. And let's hope he gets away with another boom here. Averaging 42 a punt. Not bad. Fair catch called for.
And St. Cloud will set up shop right inside their own 45. This is really nice, good starting fielding position for the Huskies as they started on their own 5-yard line last drive, but they got a first down and then the Maverick defense kind of buckled down and allowed them to punt the ball, as it's first down and 10 for the Huskies on the 44. As Lewis is the lone back for the Huskies. Check gets the snap. There's an option and hands it off to Lewis. Lewis is met right away, gain of about a half a yard.
Just unbelievable job up front again. Very dominating. This is why the Minnesota State rush defense only averages allows 2.2 yards per game. D-line, it's tough when you got 4 guys, 2 that are All-Americans that can just manhandle the offensive lineman up front and really dictate where the run game's going to go. Great job again.
And as he was alluding to the All-Americans, and at that nose tackle position, you got one of the leaders of that defense, and that's Zach Dodge.
Oh, just again, overwhelming up front, outpowering this Husky offensive line. Great start so far. Great start. Going to see if we can continue, but don't think for a minute that they're not going to test the secondary out. Lost a few key people over the course of preseason and early on. Let's see. I think they're going to test the secondary out here as we got a man look here. Big third down.
As it's third down and 10, the Huskies come with the 4 wide receivers. As Check puts one in motion. Check drops back, sees some pressure and looks left, and he's got it for a first down. And that was to his wide receiver,
number 87, Anthony Carter.
Anthony Carter. Actually, Anthony Carter is the tight end, 6'3", 230. He's a junior. As they're getting hand signals and checks, telling him what his offensive line, what the play is. There's a little bit of confusion. That was a gain of about 11. And here's a free play as Check's going to take a look down the sideline, and it's thrown over his head. As that was intended for number 9, John
Pass intended for number 9, John Silver.
And we'll send it to the referee of what the decision was.
Yeah, as I alluded to here, man, they're going to start testing because I think they found out early here in the first quarter that the run game is not going to be a viable option here. Don't be surprised if they keep it coming deep here. It was offsides indeed, and it was a free play. Don't think they're not going to keep trying these deep passes, trying to string this defense out and running as you saw early on with the draw game, and they're probably going to come to some quick screens here if they keep locking up in man coverage here.
And as you said before, Jordan, the Mavericks' rushing game is very, very good, and as they average very, very little yards per rush. As Lewis decides to run up the middle and run right into a wall of purple. And as we said too earlier, the Mavericks' passing defense is something that they've had a little bit of a struggle with on the defensive side. As when it came to against Augustana, even though their pass defense in conference is the 15th out of 16, allowing a completion percentage of 59% and 7.2 yards per pass, as they're averaging 282.5 yards per game, which is 15th in the conference. As that's something that I'm pretty sure Coach Hoffman and the defensive line, as Check is sacked, and he's met in the backfield by Chance Bowen, and another defender here, and that's number 95, Michael Buto. As it sets up about third and 7 here for the Huskies, as Chance Bowen is applying that pressure on the right side of the defense.
Coach Austin Dickinson and Coach defensive coordinator Jim Glogowski got this defensive line raring today. Great game plan and good job on the twists and stunts up front to get pressure on this quarterback early. Gonna need more of that here going later into the game.
Check drops back, looks for his wide receiver, and as he's caught, he's hit in there, and they're giving him the first down. That looks like a gain of 13.
Check's pass complete to number 23,
and that was complete to Nate Gimza.
Tackle made by number 30, Cade Johnson.
As that moves the chains, and that's another Husky first down.
11-yard gain on the play. First down.
As they gave him the first down, and Check is, it's 2 wide receivers near and 1 far. Lewis, it looks like they only have 1 back, as it seems like the defensive line for the Mavericks is not very well disciplined on that snap count. As Lewis finds some running room, has a couple cuts and cuts up the middle, and that's another Husky first down as they're giving them the first down.
Good timing by the Husky offense there on the draw. They know the Maverick defensive line has got their hand in it. They're trying to get after it right now. So it's touche to them on being able to slow that rush down. But linebackers got to be able to stay home a little bit longer and work on shedding that block from the fullback and the guards on that draw to get off and make that tackle there.
And as the Huskies are the first team to get in the red zone, as Czech has got two wide receivers, his motions one to his left. Hands it off to Lewis, goes right up the middle, and is met, but only a gain of a couple.
As we were just mentioning, the defense struggling in the secondary. But one thing, though, is this is kind of a true testament to a bend, don't break defense. As the Mavericks are fifth in the conference here, stopping opponents 75% of the time when they get inside the 20. So let's see if they can get that back straight and put up a fight here, keep them out of the end zone and hold them to a three-point attempt.
And as you see on this Huskies second drive, they're moving the ball a whole lot better than what they did the first one, even though they kind of had a plan, but Mavericks kind of shut them down and said, no, sir. Czech receives the snap, hands it off to Lewis. Lewis is met by Palmy, and
Lewis on the carry.
And Parrish
number 9, Michael Palmy.
You know, one thing that, other than losing some key players in the secondary this year being younger now and having some inexperienced players step up, they've gotten a lot better over the last 3 weeks at making tackles. And they sometimes do get through that first defensive line there. The defensive backs have came up and made some big stops, much like they're creating a third down here.
As it's 3rd and 4 at the Mavericks 10-yard line for the Huskies, as Czech looks, and that's incomplete pass. Thrown a little out of the reach for his tight end.
Pass intended for number 87.
And that'll set up a 4th down in about 3, as we could see the Huskies kicking game come into play here. As Adam Stage comes on to attempt a field goal, and this field goal is a chip shot. It's 27 yards.
For the Huskies to attempt.
Mavericks have one field goal block this season to see if they can get around the edge here.
As it's good.
The kick is good.
And the Huskies are up late here in this first quarter, 3-0. And as we saw there, you know, it showed that the Mavericks on that drive could not stop them on the third down. As the Huskies went 3 for 4 on that drive on third down conversions.
It's going to change here. You know, the Mavericks do a lot of different things, and they're going to show you a lot of different looks. And they tend to start settling in here late in the first, going into the second quarter. A lot of good stuff. Coach Glow is showing them many different looks, slanting away and bringing that nickel corner off the edge here, and I think there's Huskies are staying in, leaving a tight end to help with that, but it's going to create better matchups on the edge for the Mavericks as they play a typical two-man under or cover 2 defense, allowing everything to stay in front, and they do a good job, as I alluded to earlier, of coming up and making tackles after the play. Again, a true testament to the bend, don't break defense.
Scoring summary for the Huskies: 11 plays, 46 yards, 5 minutes and 41 seconds. A 27-yard field goal by Stage is good. Huskies 3,
and Stage
0.
is ready to set the kick. And boom! As Mavericks receive it in the end zone, but he drops it, and he'll just pick it up and take a knee. And the Mavericks start at the 25-yard line. But as we notice here, I gotta ask you, Jordan, on your thoughts about the new kickoff rule here in the NCAA.
I mean, of course, it's all for player safety here. Now, as I was talking about earlier for Minnesota and having a weapon in case of Bedarski, you know that your opponent's going to start at the 25 unless you dial up something different on the kickoff here. So having that and knowing you're eliminating big play opportunities right away with the kickoff is an underrated tool in my opinion here. Because not all these kickers in D2 can do that.
Yeah, Schlicht, as the Mavericks come with a trick play, as Arnold is set back to throw, and Schlichty set up the block as he gets down that left sideline, and that's a huge gain for Minnesota State. As that's a gain of about 20 as it sets the Mavericks up on their own 47-yard line.
just great wherewithal by Justin Arnold there. On the halfback pass, knowing that he had pressure right up the middle right away in his face, gave a great fake, he got around the edge. Just great job recognizing that there was no play to be had there. Make something on your own.
And as Schlichte receives the snap, hands it off to Gunn. Gunn finds a hole and some running way as he just barrels through it as a gain of 12 as they are in business and inside the Husky territory.
Tackle made by number 13, Matthew Lechner.
Matthew Lechner, number 13 for the Huskies, was in on the tackle as Vance Barnes is coming back in.
I'm going to hope all of you just noticed that play was made by your left guard, Jarrett Gozen. Came around on a great trap block and really folded that three technique defensive lineman in. Spring and gun for another nice gain off the right side.
Schlichte fumbles the snap and he'll just fall right on it. As it seems to be holding onto the football for the Mavericks here seemed to be the struggle as they fumbled with inside the red zone.
You know, early on here, offense shooting themselves in the foot. They're able to move the ball at will here, and almost anything and everything they want is working. But the run game, I think, is going to start wearing down on these big defensive linemen who don't look to be in quite the shape as our offensive line.
As Schlichte's got Zylstra, Barnes, and Arnold as his receiving core, and Gunn to his right. Schlichte's in the shotgun, drops back, receives a little pressure in his face, and finds Zylstra right at the first down marker, but we'll see where they mark him as he's pushed out of bounds by number 26, James Smith. As Smith was called earlier for that pass interference call on Zylstra, as Zylstra here decides to come up with the grab.
He is one bad man, that Shane Zylstra. The guy makes it look so effortless, and running his routes, he is very sharp, much like a former Minnesota State alumni, Adam Phelan. Does a great job creating separation.
And just like his brother did at Augustana. As Gunn drops the ball again but falls on it. And we'll see as Gunn does come up with it, but we'll see if he gets the first down as they mark it. And he appears to have it, but they're going to take a timeout here indeed, and they are going to measure it.
Fumble on the play, recovered by the Mavericks.
And that's Gunn's second fumble, but the third for the Mavericks. But luckily, Mavericks have fallen on two of them. But, you know, it seems to me that you can clearly see the struggles and the slow start here for the Mavericks, as we alluded to earlier. It's just been like this all season long.
Yeah, I don't know if this is something mental that they have trouble coming out of the gate, but again, this almost characteristic start of coming out slow and, dare I say, almost playing down to opponent here. Nate Gunn, one of the best rushers, as he does get the first down here. One of the best rushers in the nation here, having some ball-carrying technique issues early. Let's see if they keep him in the game or give him a breather here.
And during that mark, Gunn just went over to the sideline and tossed his gloves. Maybe that's something that he can get out of his mind. And as the Mavericks set up shop just shy of the 30-yard line of the Huskies. As Barnes is in motion, Schlichte fakes the handoff and finds Barnes in the flat. Barnes takes the catch, but is met right there
Schlichte's pass complete to number 8, Vance Barnes.
by Barnes, and Barnes will gain a couple, but not much.
I love what Joe Bashorner, the offensive coordinator, does as we come to the end of the first here. Does a great job of giving many different looks. Don't be surprised if you see that same formation coming back here later in the game, sitting in that jet motion and giving it to him there, and then also that RPO off of that with Nate Gunn, looking out at your read key, whether it be the defensive end or your outside linebacker. There's 3-4 plays that can come out of that exact formation and exact motion there that's going to pay dividends here down the road, because as we see, number 8 here got wide open in the flat and able to get a good gain on first.
Yeah, and Vance Barnes is one of those rare players. He's a two-sport athlete here at MSU. He is a track star, and when you get that little sweep action going, you can do the jet sweep, or you can just straight hand it off to the kid, or just hand him out in the flat, and he will make guys miss in that space with his agility and quickness. As Barnes, as we alluded to, he's a member of the track team, so it kind of sets up something, and also in that slot area, as he can outrun linebackers left and right. And that just gives Mavericks full advantage in that passing game, where you got Justin Arnold, who's a tough 5'10" wide receiver on the outside, mixing with that redshirt freshman. He was redshirted last year, and he's a true freshman now. But Jalen Sample, that 6'6" kid out of Wisconsin, and then you got Zylstra. I mean, my goodness, you just can't come up with a better, combination at the wide receiving core than that.
I mean, have fun, and you said it right there. Have fun with that. Here we go for second down. Arnold in motion here. Fake. And he's got the tight end as he drops it. Number 88, Trevor Nissen, had an easy touchdown, but just off the fingertips. And a great job there overall by the Maverick offense. Running that running back out into the flat and having a quick out there really brought this safety's eyes down looking at the quarterback. It almost got beat deep over the top. They were in man coverage here, and the safety got caught looking in the backfield as we're quick to the line here again. Schlichty looking over to the sideline to Coach Prosser and Coach Weiss getting the signals here. Barking out the orders now. Got a 2 tight end set, one in the up back position. Nice route and catch by number 14. Excuse me, trying to find him on my play sheet here. Parker Glodamines with a big catch and a good run after the catch to get us inside the 10 here. Down to the 8-yard line. Maverick offense looking like themselves again here. Passing game coming alive.
As we look here at the first quarter stats, the Huskies have ran 16 plays for 64 yards compared to the Mavericks 14 for 100. And even though Nate Gunn has put the ball on the ground twice, he's averaging 8.4 yards per carry. Schlichty hands it off to Gunn. Gunn finds some running way up the middle.
Number 23,
gain of about 4
carry.
as he's brought down at the 5-yard line. And then we go back to the first quarter stats. Lewis Gregory for St. Cloud has rushed for 41 yards. His longest was 17, but that seems to be a little bit of an issue here for the Mavericks defense, and they allowed 41 rushing yards already here in this first quarter.
They've done a great job, the Husky offense, of really slowing them down with those 2 big draw plays here.
As Gunn receives the handoff, and he's fighting for extra yards as he's brought down at the 3.
Such a tough runner in Nate Gunn. One thing that I'm seeing Schlichty do a really good job of, down here in the red zone, the Huskies are going to throw a bunch of different looks. Going to bring up a corner here, your nickelback, show blitz. But the patience, and you can see the veteran come out in Schlichty as he gives him a quick hard count and slows it down, and able to see what's happening and break it down and get a better play in. But great job by him commanding that offense and taking his time here in the red zone. Let's see if they can convert on this big 3rd and 3.
As it's 3rd down and goal for the for the Mavericks. As Arnold's in motion, Schlichty with the quarterback run and touchdown! In the end zone, reservations for 6 for the Mavericks. And Schlichty, his 3rd rushing touchdown at home this year, as the Mavericks student section goes nuts.
It looks like someone just let off a purple smoke grenade here in the stands. But a big touchdown here. And there was 3 options on that play. This reminded me of a Peyton Manning offense back in the late 2000s here. Having a little shovel pass option and then a great pitch relationship with a halfback there. But Schlichty saw he had an opening, and offensive line just bowled him over for an easy 6 there. Just great offensive play calling so far by Coach Shorter.
As Bednarski comes on to set up the point after, as the Mavericks score with 13-12 to go in the half. And that is through and good. Bednarski puts the Mavericks up 7-0. And as the defense will try to come out and have a say.
Well, that was a great job there by Justin Arnold. That snap was a little out of control, able to corral it, get it up and down. But again, Bednarski showing Mr. Automatic here.
And as the fans can see, the Mavericks did something a little, you see some teams in NCAA do it, but not all in the NFL. What is up with the offensive line starting on the left side and then just eventually moving over as soon as the play clock comes?
Well, I know these are things that a lot of teams do now. One thing that I saw comparatively, like the Los Angeles Rams did this Thursday night, they show you a bunch of different looks, but then they come out and it's the same play. And by doing that and having this unbalanced line and coming back to your more traditional one tight end, two tight end look, it makes that defense change on the fly there. It disrupts their timing and play calling, their assignment and alignment, if you will, making an advantage, and just all these different little wrinkles of the RPO really help the Maverick offense.
And as Benarski's leg allows it to travel 9 yards into the end zone and just go straight out of the end zone. As it's a touchback, and the Huskies will set up shop on the north side of the field of Blakely Stadium, and it will be on the 25.
You know, one thing with this defense here is, as I've said time and time again already, it's a bend don't break defense, and they do a great job of getting off the field when it matters. Here, they're one of the best in third down conversions in the conference, and the pass defense is coming along, but I think those stats are a bit skewed with garbage time, if you will, from some of these games they play. A lot better than the stats show.
As Check fakes the step, and it's tipped at the line, but somehow caught by number 87, Anthony Carter, the tight end. And that's a gain of about 5. And as we keep going, and we hope the Mavericks offense starts picking up here a little bit, as Schlichty kind of got him going with that touchdown drive. We look back here at scores by quarter for Minnesota State and their opponents this season. In the first quarter, now the Mavericks are getting outscored by their opponents 32-28, but it's a whole different ball game when it comes to the second quarter, as they're outscoring them 60-25. And let's hope that, as it's a false start, looks like here on the Huskies offensive line, we just got to hope that this passing defense for the Mavericks can shut down that passing game and check.
You know, last week at Winona, watching that game, it was, again, another slow start, more in particular on the defensive side. But Coach Glogowski goes in at halftime and made some unbelievable adjustments. And the defense came out and got 2 interceptions, and a defensive line played the stout defensive line play that they have all season. And it was really a dominant effort, and I think we got some of that carrying over into this week right now.
Yeah, as I didn't get a chance to catch that because the women's volleyball was in action at last Saturday, but at Winona, you know, you can kind of see it as Check goes and slides for a gain of about 7. And as we go back to the Winona State game, you know, you go and look at it, and then it's 0-0, and then you go and check it 10 minutes later, and they're already down 10-0. And it's, you know, it just surprises me as, you know, you don't expect the Mavericks to be down 10 early in the ball game.
Here after this play, we'll give a little bit more insight on that.
As it's third down and short here for the Huskies, as it's another false start, as it's the third one already this half for the Huskies.
I think the crowd having a little bit to do with that, getting a little rowdy here on this chill night, causing another false start here.
Jordan, you played football, but you know what's it like, you know, coming into atmosphere as it is here in Minnesota State? As we look out here, is this on the home side, there's absolutely no seating available up here in the stands, and it is jam-packed, elbow to elbow. And then you look out on the hill, and that's full too. You see a little bit patches of green here and there, but I mean, it's absolutely a wonderful atmosphere here, homecoming weekend here in Mankato, as Check steps up in the pocket, eludes it, but throws it right to the ground, as it was intended for his wide receiver number 18, John Pass. Incomplete. And Justin Arnold is back to receive the punt here for the Mavericks.
Yeah, going back to the noise in the crowd here. As we all know, or the ones that follow football quite frequently, the crowd noise disrupts a lot of communication and getting people in play. And as you can see that, it's having a big impact already on this Husky offensive line. And they're just confusing them. Many, many different looks with stunts and twists up front for the Mavericks, keeping that offensive line off kilter.
And Stage's punt was a line drive punt, and not much to show for it, as the Mavericks will set up at their own 46, as it looks like we might have another change at quarterback here for the Mavericks, as J.D. Akawa is coming back into the game.
Yeah, I like what JD brings to the table. You know, Schlichting may have a little bit of an upper hand on his passing, but something that JD brings is his athleticism. It's almost uncomparable to a lot of the other quarterbacks in conference play, and even in the nation. Can make a lot of things out of nothing, which is huge.
And when you say as the jet sweep to Arnold, as Arnold breaks a tackle and heads forward, and that is a first down, gain of about 11, and that is moving the chains as this offensive line is all of a sudden starting to click here in the second quarter.
Coach Colin Prosser's got to be happy with this effort so far. It is all moving backwards, and they got that Husky defense on the hills. That's a great job up front.
And as you alluded to Akawa and his athleticism, as Gunn receives the handoff to the left side and goes for about a gain of 5. And as we move back to Akawa and discuss him, you said he's just athleticism, he's pure athleticism. He kind of reminds me of Michael Vick when he played. The early Michael Vick, the early 2000s, when he didn't run for running. He ran to escape and make plays, and he directed traffic. As last game against Concordia St. Paul here, he did a great job. Like when he received pressure, he didn't decide to run. As Gunn jumps out to the right side and is tackled and pushed out of bounds at the 25. And Akawa, with that being said, he's just a elusive passer, and I think a lot of guys on that offensive line like what he brings to the table.
It's a great match for what Coach Joe. I think we got a hold here. I don't know. I think that's a bad call there. That was a great pancake block. And number 72 for the Huskies kind of got tripped up in it. I don't know if that's what the call was there, but I think that was just a great effort by number 64, center Jack Russell. That's, I think, a bad call. But going back to what Akawa can do, Coach Bashorner, I think, when you sets up two different offenses, a Schlichty offense and a Akawa offense, because when JD comes into the game, you see a lot more of the RPO-style offense, giving him that run option every time as well. Of course, in nature, the pass option there. And it just makes it really difficult to stop.
As Akawa looks for Barnes in the flat, and that's nothing, and Barnes puts it on the ground. And that is another fumble from Minnesota State, as they cannot hang on to the ball this afternoon, and the Huskies come up with it and have great field position at their own 46.
Yeah, right now, Minnesota State coming into the game with almost a -1 turnover ratio, not doing anything in their favor here. That's a third fumble, I believe the second given away, and they just have not had good luck in the turnover column this year, struggling to keep the ball.
Yeah, that is their fourth fumble of this afternoon and in this first half already. And we're only 9 minutes remaining here in the first half. As Czech has got two wide receivers to his right and one left. Czech drops back to pass, is feeling a little pressure up the middle, rolls out and looking for his running back, Lewis, and that is intended and wide.
One thing, again, this defensive line is playing unbelievably well today. Although they're not quite getting there for the sack, you can see the quarterback for the Huskies' eyes are coming down and looking at the rush. And once that happens, it's all over. He has to roll out, try to make a difficult pass on the run, which was well covered by the Minnesota State defense. This defensive line, again, although they're not getting there on the sacks, they are making it very tough and making them keep two tight ends here, as you can see in this offensive set.
As Bulow and Dodge were in on the pressure there for the Mavericks, as Czech hands it off to Lewis. Lewis runs right up the middle, and that draw is really killing that Maverick defensive line.
Yeah, it's one thing that I think the Huskies recognized early, is that they got to do what they're doing and keep finding a way to try to slow down and don't let this Minnesota State defense, linebacker core and defensive line core go upfield and really create a gap penetration and hold that gap. So by making them slow down and go side to side, it's really benefiting here. But we got a 3rd and 4, and let's see if this Maverick defense can get off the field again.
Yeah, those guards, Chris Antoine, Dylan Lauer, and at center, Parker Mathewson, are just absolutely destroying that initial front four for the Mavericks, as Czech finds his receiver for a first down. And that is caught by John Solberg. And that'll move the chains for the Huskies.
Number 20, Cole Schroedermeyer. And number 32,
and
Spencer
as Dodge
Hermes.
comes out and takes a breather, and we'll get a fresh set of defensive line here for the Mavericks. And that front seven for the Mavericks is applying a lot of pressure on the pass, but not so much on the run.
Yeah, they're getting tested now. They know they're getting after him, and they're winning that battle up front. So the Huskies, again, they're going to do stuff to try to slow them down and keep them back instead of going north and south.
As Lewis is trying to find some running room, but is met at the line and just falls forward for a gain of 1.
Yeah, again, unbelievable job. Watching this at home, pay attention to your 3 and 5 technique defensive tackles. Watch inside and watch what they do. They do the 5 technique is doing a great job. The guy wider out from the center is doing a great job of absorbing that double team and really keeping them off the linebackers, creating no running lanes on these traditional inside runs.
Yeah, 2 wide receivers and a tight end. It's check motions one of his wide receivers at the top of your screen. And he sends his Anthony Carver in motion. He drops back the pass, feeling the pressure, and then is thrown behind his intended receiver, number 18, John Pass, as it sets up a 3rd and long here for the Huskies.
Early on in the season, the Mavericks had trouble getting to the quarterback, but I think Coach Blow has gotten the best rotation going right now. Right now you see on the 3rd and long situation, he brings out his 4 best pass rushers. And you look at Zach Dodge, number 90. That when he's out there, he's getting double teamed. So you know you got 3 one-on-one matchups here on the edge. We'll see if they can get there right now.
And as I like to see this is head coach Todd Hoffner turns around to the crowd and just trying to get him in here on this 3rd down to help his team. As Check rolls out to his right, receiving pressure from Chance Bowen, and that is incomplete. And that is 4th down, and it looks like Minnesota State could send back Keyshawn Davis and Justin Arnold as they are going with that 2 receiver deep.
Yeah, this is one of those things you're seeing more and more of in football in general. Maybe not in the NFL, but certainly college. Teams like to kick away from these explosive playmakers, especially the ones we have here at Minnesota State. So by sending 2 back, you give a better shot at a big play.
And Stage's punt is fair caught by Keyshawn Davis at the 10. And the Mavericks are going to have a long way to go, as it will be a 90-yard drive to the end zone. But there's 7.5 minutes left here in this first half. And let's see if the Mavericks can do something here with Schlichty coming back out in the center.
Yeah, I think they're going to keep sticking to the game plan. You know, they've really done everything right other than their ball security. It's been a bad struggle, uncharacteristic really of the Maverick offense and running backs in particular.
As we've seen Gunn back here in the back today, we haven't seen all that much of Justin Taramina, as they normally come with a 2-back set, but it's been all Nate Gunn here the start of this early afternoon, as Gunn goes to the line and gains about nothing.
No gain on the play, 2nd down.
Tough go out of there, but they could settle in. I think we need to start seeing more from the passing game here. We've grinded on them and got them stepping up in the box. If you look, these safeties are at 9 and 10 yards deep, which is not all that deep in terms of getting back in that deep zone there.
Yeah, but you got the tall wide receivers now as there's a handoff to Gunn as he finds a little bit of running room and falls forward for a gain of 3. And you know what, it just, you know, as Parker Glutamines comes in for Gunn, you know, you got Jalen Sample and Zylstra and Glutamines, who are all over 6'2", compared to the tallest guy in the secondary for the Huskies, who is 6'1". I mean, I feel like that gives the Mavericks in this type of situation a clear and favorite of what they're going to do. As Schlichty drops back the pass, looking to his right and finds the freshman Sample, and that's a gain of 11. As Sample gets his first catch and first look of the afternoon, as Gunn and Barnes come back in.
Yeah, I think you said it best, is that the Maverick offense in the wide receiver position, they have prototypical speed receiver, possession receiver, and stretch to field receiver. But one thing in common with all of them is they're all very good route runners, and you can see Sample creating that space on that quick crossing route.
As Schlichty finds Barnes in the pass again, as they're getting Barnes and moving into this offense early, as he's up the left sideline and forced out of bounds by number 8.
Tackle made by number 8, Ben Betzchow.
And, you know, Vance Barnes is just a quick, speedy receiver, as that is Barnes' 3rd reception of this afternoon, but finally one that he actually could break loose and get a first down for the Mavericks.
Yeah, All you young receivers out there right now, if you don't think you have to block in the run game, you're wrong. Take a look, watch Shane Zylstra on the run game. Phenomenal edge blocker and just sprung that for another big first down.
Hand off the gun to the right side, and he's breaking and he's finding some running way as he breaks loose for a gain of 14 as he's up to midfield here for the Mavericks. And we have an injured Husky down as this will cause an injury timeout, as that is number 37 for the Huskies.
Yeah, if you are an offensive line guy, this job that this Minnesota State offensive line is doing right now is absolutely impeccable. In unison, their combination blocks to the second level on these inside zone plays, absolutely magnificent. Getting hip to hip, working up to the second level, covering everything up, and just creating these big lanes. Just hope better ball security here and keep grinding on them, and you can see it wearing down. Hands on the hips all over the place for that Husky defense. And there are two pancake blocks on the backside of that. So you know the effort is there when you got your backside of the offensive line getting these guys to the ground. Just phenomenal job all around by that offensive line.
And that injured Husky was number 37, Nolan Dwyer, the junior, 6'2", 230, as that could be a pretty big loss here for the linebacking core here for St. Cloud State. As Arnold's back into the game and the freshman Sample gets a breather. Arnold gets sets in motion and the hands off to Arnold, and he looks in, but a great open field tackle by number 13, Matthew Lechner.
Number 27, Justin.
Bit of a missed assignment, missed block. It seemed like tight end number 88, Tyler Goetson, was unsure if he should continue up the second level there, get that, but great job. Other than that block there, I think there was a little confusion on who he had to attack. One thing that I like of this Maverick offense is how they can come out in what you would call maybe a jumbo or a big formation set with two tight ends, but come out in a good play action look out of it, as those tight ends do a great job of creating space over the middle.
And I got to go back to give a little bit of credit to Matthew Lechner on that play, as Schlichty feels some pressure and steps up in the pocket and gains one and avoids a sack, and at least gives some positive field position for the Mavericks as it's 3rd down and 9. But back to that first down play, Matthew Lechner did a heck of a job at actually avoiding that block, even though he did get chipped a little bit, and he was basically on his knees when he tackled Arnold.
Yeah, you look at that, you know, you got to give credit where credit's due. He did a good job of getting off it, but just even getting a piece there would have sprung him, because there was bodies on that left side of the secondary here, and that could have been a big play.
Yeah, maybe if even Arnold had bounced it outside to the left even a little bit more, he could have been having reservations for 6, as Arnold's targeted, but then it's stripped. And it's stripped. Minnesota State's 3rd fumble of the half, and Arnold almost had a first down, but it was stripped by number 14, Jamari Manuel. And that is the 3rd fumble recovery by the Huskies and the 5th fumble of the game by Minnesota State. This is a very unusual circumstance and an unusual set of events here for this Maverick offense.
Yeah, what I was going to give him credit for is what ultimately caused that. Justin Arnold came back on that comeback route and caught the ball away from his body with his hands, but that ultimately led to that defender being able to get his hands inside of it. So good job, but just again, ball security lacking today.
As the Huskies set up shop at his right backfield, we got ourselves a ball player in number 49, Alex Goldel. Welcome to the ball game, Mr. Goldel.
That right there, leading tackle on our team, Alex Goldel there. That was a great defensive call, because he came on delayed blitz, and I think Coach Glow, I know he set that up. He sent him on the delayed blitz because he knows on second down they have routine, or on first down they have tried to slow him down right away with that draw. And by bringing that delayed blitz, met him right at the line, and absolutely nothing doing with the spectacular Goddard.
And that was a loss of 6 on the play, as there's pressure from the backside, and it's a fumble picked up by Goldel. 20-10, touchdown Minnesota State. And that is something the Mavericks have been looking for this afternoon, as the offense has struggled a little bit, but the defense comes up with something huge in allowing the touchdown by the Maverick defense.
Boy, one hell of a defensive set there by Coach Jim Glagowski. great adjustments, knowing that they're having trouble handling that rush, and overloading blitz, bringing that backside nickel corner and that backside outside linebacker. Had no chance in finding a clear path to the quarterback. He disrupting everything there for an Maverick touchdown.
As that's 13 unanswered points from the Mavericks, as Bernarski's extra point is over the screen, and it's 14-0, and even over the scoreboard, as that goes into the parking lot and rolls out into the street. I mean, my goodness.
Myers Fieldhouse over here better watch their windows, because that kick could have gone through.
As I just showed you what the leg of Bernarski is capable of. As, you know, the Mavericks couldn't seem to get anything going on offense, and as we keep looking here, and it just seems to me that something like that can change the whole ball game and swing the momentum in favor of the Mavericks, even though they just came off 2 previous plays before of coughing up the ball.
Yeah, and you said it there. The momentum has been swinging back and forth, but primarily staying with the Huskies there. We've been dominating this game the whole time, but turnovers have killed it, and that's what keeps teams in ball games. But a great job there by the Maverick defense, letting them know, hey, we're here, and you ain't going anywhere. So the Maverick offense, we can stop committing these turnovers. Boy, I tell you what, this game's already a blowout without those turnovers, because we are inside the 5 with 1 fumble and driving again on 2 other occasions. But great job. This is what a #1 ranked team does.
As the kickoff is dropped in the end zone, but bounces right back up, and he didn't have to move. So the Huskies will set up shop at the 25. And here comes out
kickoff, 65 yards, no return, first down and 10 for the Huskies,
who,
at the 25-yard line.
As he gave up the fumble, and it was returned for a touchdown, but it seems like the Maverick defensive line is, when it comes to the running game, is not all there, but when it comes back to the passing game, they're right in his face.
Yeah, they're causing havoc so far. Let's see if they can keep it up. They're going to have to start accounting like this formation here. They got 2 tight ends in, trying to account for that rush.
As Check hands it off to Lewis, but he'll keep it, as it was a quarterback option and a rush of about 1.5.
Yeah, on that play, I think Coach Glow has made some great adjustments here. Instead of bringing that pressure play side, he's bringing it from the backside to get that pressure on. But a great job by the defensive end and outside linebacker here on our left side of being patient, because they know they're going to come at him with that RPO-style offense there. Defensive end crashed down, took the running back, and then the rest of the defense came in and accounted for the quarterback. So very good alignment, assignment football in that previous play.
And Parrish Merrill was in on the tackle, as it's a timeout, Minnesota State. And as we come in here, and I want you to talk about this a little bit, what is so effective as we keep seeing, you know, NCAA football evolve more and more? It seems like that read option is becoming more effective as guys just keep getting more and more athletic at that quarterback position.
Yeah, and I think that the key is what you just said there, is the athleticism that is in these quarterbacks, or that these quarterbacks have, rather. Because now there's many more options here. Being able to have that threat to run, much like Minnesota State's own J.D. Akawa, it just makes the defense struggle. Creates wide open mismatch or even one-on-one mismatches with a linebacker on a receiver.
As Check dropped back to pass, looks left, and he is sacked by number 93, Jake Shepard. And as that brings up a 3rd and long here for the Huskies.
Mankato.
And timeout Minnesota State as the clock dips under 2:30. And as we keep going to, as you said, Schlichty and Ikawa, and then as we see it here, why is it becoming more and more of a traditional more style of an offense with that read option?
Well, these guys coming in now, they have a bigger arsenal in their skill set. So being able to run the ball and also have a big arm, like both the Minnesota State quarterbacks do, just creates problems for a lot of defenses. If you go back and look at the Concordia St. Paul game, they were a four wide receiver vertical set offense, you know. offensive linemen are moving backwards, trying to create that pocket, and your inefficiency in the offensive line to be able to make a move side to side other than north to south and creates bigger lanes and creases there in the defense. But overall, Minnesota encapsulating everything today.
As Check receives some pressure, and that is a great shed block. Sack! Minnesota State, we are in business. As that's Chance Bowen, and he's getting that sideline for Minnesota State pumped up as the Mavericks just spend their third and final timeout here late in this first half.
Defensive line coach Austin Dickinson has just got to be beside himself right now with this performance. They are absolutely reading and taking apart this offensive line and reading it. Right there, if you saw that defensive end, I believe, getting that contact early, disrupting that timing by hitting the running back before continuing his path to the quarterback. With such a big frame, getting his arms up and hitting that running back, getting him off his path, the quarterback had no chance to get it to a wide open running back. And they're just doing all the little things right. Assignment and alignment football, you're in the right spot and you're doing the right thing. Guess what? More often than not, it's going to work. And with the physical specimens that we have on defense here at MSU, is tough to handle. And you can see the depth of this team. Losing some key people and the rotation you got going, it's a great depth, staying fresh and being able to be attack all the time.
As Stage is set up at the goal line to punt the ball, and Stage's punt as Arnold's back deep, and he'll allow that to drop as it hits nobody, but it's dropped down at the 48 of Minnesota State as the referee is signaling, and the players from St. Cloud State are trying to argue differently. But that arguing has come up enough, and he says we've had enough as Akawa now is coming back out. And, you know, that momentum swing here for Minnesota State were late, actually, midway through that second quarter with that fumble recovery that led to a touchdown on the defensive side. As Akawa keeps the ball, runs up, and is met at the line of scrimmage for no gain.
Yeah, it looked like we had a little bit of a misassignment there by the right tackle, not kicking out that end on the right side power play. It's all right. We're going to settle in, and we'll get back to it here. You're going to have a negative play every now and then. But this offense, we got 2 minutes left here, a little under 2 minutes here. Plenty of time. Stay calm. Keep going by what you got on the script.
As Akawa comes out and Schlichty's back in, and the Mavericks took a little time off the clock trying to figure that out, as Schlichty finds Zylstra at the 35, as that's a gain of about 23.
So much fun to watch. Zylstra coming from the outside into the slot. All utility receiver. He is such a blast to watch play the wide receiver position. Takes advantage of all these safeties and corners throughout the NSIC.
As Schlichty has 4 wide receivers, and he's looking Sample's way, as Sample is tackled apparently in bounds, and that'll keep the clock rolling as it ticks down inside 70 seconds, and the ref is still trying to line up the ball as Sample was brought down at the 32, as the clock now says under a minute, and Schlichty's got the offensive line already lined up, and 2 wide receivers right and 2 left. Gun the back, Schlichty drops back, finds Sample again, but Sample runs out of bounds to stop the clock as it sets up a 36, no gain.
Yeah, tough go there. I thought that took a little too long for the officials to get that ball lined up. That's gonna hurt there as we're here on the 32, a big third down. I think this is 4 down territory anyway. I think you're gonna see this Maverick offense open up here in the next couple of plays.
I mean, even though if you're Coach Hoffner and you got the leg of Benarski, that's just always an option to go to, even though you want to get points on the board before this half and go up 14 instead of, getting nothing on there. As Schlichty drops back the pass and receives pressure from right up the middle as Schlichty steps up, finds Arnold for a first down, and Arnold is ran out of bounds. And he was ran out by number 6, Stuart Hammond. And as that stops the clock at 39 seconds left here to go, as Minnesota State is in the red zone.
As much as I hate to make this next comparison for Schlichty, looking a lot like Aaron Rodgers there. Staying cool, calm, and collected and ducking that would-be sack right away and making an on-target pass to Justin Arnold.
And what I liked about Schlichty is he didn't decide to panic as he pump fakes, finds Zylstra in the end zone, touchdown Mavericks!
Unbelievable. I hope all you young receivers are paying a lot of attention to number 84, Shane Zylstra. That little shimmy there, little 2-3 steps and get upfield, absolutely dusted him. Great job of swiping the hands off, and just what do they say in baseball? Can of corn right there. Just an easy catch for 6.
Yeah, can of corn, and I'll be fine. That is exactly what they say. As Benarski gives the okay, snap, spot, kick, through, good.
The point after from Casey Benarski
And
is good.
21 answered points here from the Mavericks, as that gives them a 21-3 edge.
You said it when you mentioned the scoring by quarter. Like, I think it's the biggest thing. When you're a number 1 team in the nation in any sport and you play in a game, every team is going to come and try to give you a knockout blow early, try to stun you, hit you right on the chin, right? But Minnesota State, the experience in the coaching staff is able to corral that energy, sit back, and figure out what's going on, and just, again, a total dominating second quarter performance again. Schlichty getting the team fired up here, emotions running high, great finish to the first half here for Mavericks on homecoming. Just what you want to see out of this high-powered offense.
Mavericks 21, Huskies 3.
And as Benarski gets set up to kick, we got
Casey
two back
Benarski will kick off for the Mavericks, back for the Huskies.
Huskies.
Number 12, Tanner Teague.
Number 12, Tanner
And
Teague.
number 26, James Smith.
And number 26, James Smith. And Benarski gives a signal to Parrish Morrow. And boom. As Teague will just let it fall and go out of the end zone.
Kickoff through the end zone.
And as you can just see it, the pure, utter looseness
No return, first down and
that
10
the
at
Mavericks are playing with,
25-yard
and
line.
just the sheer of enjoyment to play the game of football right now here in the second quarter.
Yeah, when you're doing things right and things are clicking, it's easy to stay focused, go out and get the job done right. You know, they're just doing the coaching staff. I saw watching film this week, had them rocking in practice, looking like the Huskies are going to take it in half here, take a knee. They had a great week of practice. Things were going well. And the game plan they implemented here is working to a T. The Huskies offensive line is at a loss for words right now, getting after it. And one thing I think that is showing here as we go further and further, and that's going to bring it to the end of the first half, is the balance of the Minnesota offense. They average just a tick under 500 yards a game, and the balance between the run and the pass game, you never know where they're going to come from. And like you said multiple times, on the edge with their receiving core, it's just tough to stop this dominating Minnesota State offense.
And as you're Todd Hoffman, you got to like the way that your team ended out the first half and closed it out. But it's very, very questionable about how you started this ball game. That first quarter was very sloppy on offense, as you have nothing to show for it. But then you come out in the second quarter, and you throw up 21 unanswered. You know, what is your message to Hoffner, to his offense and to his defense, to start out that second half?
Figure it out and get better as the year goes on. But losing some key starters, it's going to hurt any team. But again, the depth, showing up, making the changes, the coaching staff doing a great job. Ravel Jackson, the defensive backs coach, and Coach Jim Kogowski working in unison today and implementing a fine game plan to cause this disruption all game long here. Mavericks bring it back out on the field here. We got about 2.5 minutes left at halftime. And we'll get back with your third quarter action here in just a moment.
Maverick fans, get on your feet as the street team brings out the Gatling gun, provided to us through the generosity of the Minnesota State Mankato Foundation. They'll be shooting Maverick t-shirts into the stands. Make some noise for the street team. Dr. Pepper and Radio Mankato would like to congratulate Abby Johnson, as Abby was today's winner of a $500
All right, welcome back to Blake here. As we're about to get set for our second half kickoff. The program has been graciously brought to you by the IT Solutions team here at Minnesota State. Just big thanks to all the technical crew with their help setting up and helping us put on a great broadcast for you guys. So looking at some notes here that I was taking watching some film this weekend, and that we've already saw come up big early on, is Ryan Schlichte and Shane Zylstra connection. This duo, although not putting up staggering numbers in the touchdown department, when they need big plays, they make it happen, and they look to number 84's way. Number 84, Shane Zylstra, just a phenomenal wideout here, and it looks like he's going to be playing at the next level in the CFL, if I'm not mistaken. But a great job here by this run game, and having a dominated run game makes it very easy to get those big plays down there. And I go back to an Augustana game at Augustana that I was fortunate enough to be at. You know, they struggled offensively for most of that game, but he threw up a nice fade ball to Shane Zylstra in the right corner of that end zone at the end of the game to take the lead, and it was impressive. The guy is a phenomenal athlete, and his patience in not showing his hands when the ball is coming in is something that is not noted enough by great wide receivers. By not showing your hands when that ball is coming down, that defender doesn't know you're ready for a pass coming in. So he does a great job at hiding that, and here we go. Casey Badowski gets the ball lined up, and we're set to get underway in the third quarter.
And number 26, James Smith.
As there's two back here for the Huskies, as Benarski is, boom! We are ready to start the second half as it's fielded in the end zone, and we'll take a knee. And for several times already in this game, I don't think we've had one kickoff return yet in this ballgame. But we have a injured Maverick down here, as that whole thing we alluded to earlier about the kickoff and injuries, and the 50% of the injuries in football happen on the kickoff for that specific reason. On the blindside, it hits the chop blocks, blocking the backs. You know, it just catches everybody off guard, and that's when you get injured the most. So in my opinion, I think it's good for the game of football, but also bad because it limits those explosive breaking plays that, you know, can happen on a punt return just as much as the kickoff return. As Czech and the Husky offense are back out on the field, and he hands it off to Gregory Lewis, and that is a gain of 1.
Yeah, again, same old thing here. It's becoming quite commonplace with this Maverick defensive line. I'm surprised they're not coming out with a more hurry-up attack here for St. Cloud, but they're going to spread them out here. They're trusting that offensive line with only a running back to help, no tight end. Let's see if this pass rush can get home here.
As the Huskies are taking their sweet time here on offense to get this play off, as Czech drops back and receives, and it's picked by Godel as he's looking to get his second touchdown in the afternoon, but he won't. As he's forced out inside the 5, as the Mavericks here set up right away and get that second turnover of the game, second for Godel, as the backside pressure for the Mavericks comes up big again.
Yeah. Hopefully we can see this replay here. I think John Madden, as he said the best, I think that quarterback is going to be having snot bubbles come out his ear, because we came off the edge and walloped him. Leading tackler Alex Godel having the awareness, see the ball go up, come back, make one hell of a play, and now we're in scoring territory right away.
As Arnold's in motion, Ikawa is the quarterback and finds his way into the end zone, and that is another Maverick touchdown, this time a rushing touchdown by the quarterback, J.D. Ikawa.
That's it right there. We've been talking all game about J.D. Ikawa's athleticism. A great little option play right there. Well, he didn't need the option there. He was able to get to the edge, sneak right in. Just a good job by stringing those blocks out and creating that crease on the edge by the offensive line. And the tight end, Tyler Gosen, just a great job again, showing why this two-headed monster at quarterback is very effective.
And the 6'1", 210 sophomore out of Illinois, as Benarski nails another extra point for 28 unanswered, as the Mavericks are moving and grooving here from the second quarter.
Yeah, watching this replay right here, Justin Arnold is the one that made that touchdown happen here. There was a linebacker scraping across the top, and he had the wherewithal to turn and just get enough. And after chipping him on that, able to get up to that safety and let him get in for the touchdown. Just a great effort, unselfish play by Justin Arnold there. Those are a lot of the little things that great teams like Minnesota State do. They do the little things and they sacrifice their body to make a big play. Just unbelievable effort and just great, again, wherewithal. Having your head in the game, and as a lot of coaches teach, or most coaches teach when you're blocking, especially offensive line, keep your head inside. And what I mean by that, keeping your head looking inside allows you to pick up those scraping linebackers and safeties and corners that Arnold did. Just great football IQ by Justin Arnold, and great effort again by J.D. Ikawa, having that athleticism and speed to get in the edge and get it across the goal line.
As we are looking here at the conditions here, the wind has picked up a little bit as it's blowing from south to the north direction in favor of Benarski here. And Benarski with another boomer that goes into the end zone, but this one decides to be returned, and he's finding some runway behind some blockers, but won't come up, and it might have been in his best decision to maybe take a knee there, Jordan.
Yeah, it certainly would have. I'm trying to find a name here, but number 3 on the Maverick bomb squad there, Zach Robinson. Unbelievable job. That blocker came up engaged, and he said, you know what, I'm going to put you right in the lap of our returner here. And he made a tackle with the Huskies' body there, and the kick team rallied to finish it off. Unbelievable job there. Those are little things, again, that great teams do.
Return, first down and 10.
And
Huskies at
as
21-yard line.
this whole season's been going on, the pass defense with Keyshawn Davis, Parrish Morrow, and Tyshawn Brooks,
Lewis on the carry,
and even Cole Schroedermeyer. Everybody in this secondary,
30,
including Kate Johnson and Michael Palmy, are doing an excellent job at muting this passing offense for St. Cloud State, as they have done no such thing at any game so far this season, except for Concordia St. Paul. As Gregory Lewis tries to find some running way, and he is met at the line of scrimmage, maybe a gain of about a half a yard, which will set up 3rd and short for the Huskies, as they are in another devastating position to give away the ball.
Yeah, again, it's a culmination of things of what may or may not be a struggle for the secondary. You see bringing in the big dogs here on the 3rd and short here defensive line. You can see they're playing inside the guard, inside shade on the guard right here. So having that, they got to make a double team decision here, offensive line, and I think that's what a quarterback's looking for right now. Who are we going to set this protection to? Because either one's going to make a mess of this play if they try to run it up the middle. Bringing heat, and he's ball stripped again. Picked up number 54. Jamie LaPlante, and that is a touchdown, the second defensive touchdown for the Mavericks here in this ball game, as it puts the Mavericks up by 31. The 6'5" senior
out of Chatfield, Minnesota. Jamie LaPlante with the touchdown with the pickup and run.
A little banged up after that, but if you're an offensive fan and you're watching this Husky offense, I gotta feel bad for you, because it's dominating performance here by the Minnesota State Mavericks. Just unbelievable. You know, looking at St. Cloud, they may be 3-1, but they have played, dare I say, some lesser than opponents this year. And when they've played a big-time player as Darcy bangs they struggle. When they played Minnesota Duluth, #1 in the South Division, or excuse me, the North Division, they got dominated. And coming in and playing a #1 team in the nation, are getting dismantled offensively and defensively. I don't think there's much more you can do here now. You just got to keep doing what you're doing Minnesota State-wise. It's working, and I don't think they have an answer for it. I know as a broadcaster, you never want to say a game's over, and certainly plenty of time left in here, but boy, they are struggling in all phases here, the Huskies here, and just looking like the #1 team that we think they are here in Minnesota State.
And as that touchdown was set up by the safety nickel blitz, and it was really drawn up well by the Mavericks defensive coordinator as Cade Johnson and Jordan Bergeron were in to force that fumble. And Bednarski gets set up again already, and there's only 12 minutes and 39 seconds left to go here in this third quarter. Not even 2.5 minutes left, and this is Bednarski's third kickoff already this half. I mean, this is quite remarkable at what the Maverick defense has done. And Todd Hoffner, I don't know what he did in the half, but he is setting up shop for his team to do well as Bednarski's kick, as it's a legal procedure here, as the Mavericks, as Bednarski kicks it out of bounds, and the Huskies are going to get some of their best starting field position, as it's not off a turnover this time, but it's off a penalty. And that's something that's super weird, and we don't see from Bednarski too often.
Yeah, I don't know if that was just not a good kick, but I think if I'm being in my analytical coaching mind here, he was trying to kind of pin it in the corner. I think they had a kick cover right where that far side of the kickoff team is going to come crashing down and force them to go up that sideline while the rest just go down and blow up the blockers on that play.
As Czech moves his man in motion. Check the handoff to Lewis as Lewis goes to the right, and he is met with a ton of bricks by number 32, Spencer Hermes. Hermes and Lewis kind of had both idea to, as you would say in Madden, truck stick the dude. But I think Hermes kind of won that battle compared to the 5'7" Gregory Lewis, but Lewis kind of gave him a run for his money.
Yeah, well, have you ever seen two Amtrak trains collide head on? That was the best representation you're going to get of it all day right there.
As there's 3 wide receivers and the tight end goes in motion. As a handoff to Lewis again finds up the middle, and that draw has kind of been doing something. It's a little hidden, a little something out of the hat trick for them, and it seems to be working as it normally doesn't work against this Maverick defensive line.
Yeah, well, you know, watching Zach Dodge here play that nose tackle, he is not allowing any ground to be made up by that St. Cloud offensive line. He's taking on that left guard and center and just absolutely manhandling him. He's a big human being, and he's making big human being plays on that defensive line all day.
As the handoff is to Gregory for the 3rd consecutive game, but no, Czech keeps it, and he's got some running room up the middle. And he's brought down by Tyshawn Brooks. And that even fooled me for a little bit, because Justin Czech, the 6'3" sophomore from Chippewa Falls, Wisconsin, had other plans, and he takes it for a massive gain. And Jack Curtis, a junior, comes out, and this is something unbelievable, as they've given up more rushing yards this game than they have all season.
Yeah, I think that St. Cloud has found something that's worked for them briefly here. But that's what you get. I think they got a little overzealous with crashing down on the running back there. And a good job again by that defensive line, closing the running lane. That previous play, looking at the replay there, they all crash. They bail on that running back. And, that's one of those things. Going back to St. Cloud is going to have to do these little things in the RPO game, in the run game, to make some misdirection, to make some guys miss. And that was one time they finally hit home with it.
As this is homecoming for Minnesota State, the Huskies are still trying to play spoiler, down 32, and the handoff to Lewis again, the almighty Lewis, and he keeps rumbling, bumbling, and stumbling, and his offensive line kind of pushes him forward as it's a gain of 5 from Lewis, and tackled by number 97, Badale Naba, and Dodge. That big body, it comes back into play, and it's 3rd down and medium here for the Huskies, as Czech and the Huskies are trying to put something here together. As the communication from the Mavericks defense is still going on. Here's Czech with the handoff to Gregory. Gregory finds it, and he lands on one of his linemen, and they're giving him the 1st down, as that's a 1st down from Gregory Lewis.
Yeah, they're putting together quite a drive right now. This is a little concerning here up front, but I think that was a good job by the Huskies quarterback, number 15 there, of figuring out what the adjustment was going to be here. But again, this is where Minnesota State becomes one of the better teams in the conference. They convert on stopping teams in the red zone 75% of the time. So again, that bend but don't break motto is coming into play here, hopefully.
As Czech gets 2 wide receivers, and that read option is still doing something, and that is a great read by Gold.
And on the play by number 49, Alex Gettle.
And here we go, as Jamie LaPlante is down here, slow to get up, but now he's jogging off under his own power. But he got hurt back on that touchdown that he scored, and that could still be lingering here as he's walking up the field with the Mavericks at training staff.
Yeah, it looked like during that touchdown return he caught, before he got the ball, it looked like he caught a shoulder pad right into the thigh. I don't know if that's what it is. It's in his thigh or rib area. I think he got contacted pretty hard. Hopefully it's just a Charlie horse, and the training staff here can work it out and get him back out there as soon as possible.
As Czech is in the pistol, as this is the formation that the Huskies really like to run, as Carver is in motion. And the read again to Lewis, as Lewis is in, and 6. Huskies touchdown as they finally answer back to the Mavericks, 35 unanswered. And that puts 6 on the board from Gregory Lewis, his first touchdown of the day from Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Yeah, watching this replay here, you gotta give credit to where credit's due here. Great job by the offensive coordinator for St. Cloud, making the adjustment to the proverbial adjustment, if you will, knowing that they're playing strong front side defense here and bringing an extra man down in the box there. Good job communicating and running off the right side, but no fear, Maverick fans. Coach Glogowski's going to make a play here and make a change, and I think we'll get it back to the Raps. We got a flag here, not quite sure what it was, but could be lining up in the neutral zone. I think the team would just elect to decline it here if that's the case.
Offsides, number 36 on the defense.
And it's offsides by Keyshawn Davis. So they decide to decline, and the extra point is in fact good. And the new score reads 35-10. And that drive for the Huskies was 4 minutes and some change, as it didn't really, the Huskies come out. They had a fumble and an interception, but Czech on that drive looked a little bit more composed in the pocket as they kind of stood away from the passing game and decided to go more run.
Yeah, when you're down big and you haven't had a lot of things going your way, sometimes as a coordinator, you got to realize, hey, let's settle down. Let's get back to some of the fundamentals of how our offense operates. And so your offensive line and those guys up front can, get settled in, get their feet back in the ground here. Because as we've seen throughout the day so far, Minnesota defensive line has been dominating up front. And it was a culmination there of both good play calling and allowing your team to get settled in after a thunderstorm of a first half for them.
As Parker Glutemans is back deep to receive the kick for Minnesota State. And it's a line drive kick, and it's picked up by Tyler Neeson.
Number 88, Trevor Nissen on the return for the Mavericks.
And he returns that one out past the 25-yard line.
Tackle made by number 30, Lewis Williams.
And the tackle by Lewis Williams as the Maverick offense, led by Ryan Schlichte, is coming back out. And Nate Gunn is the running back here still. And I'm still surprised we haven't seen Taramina's name or number even in the backfield as Schlichte drops back and rolls out to his right, and he tries to find number 86, the intended receiver, and that is Tyler Schmidt.
Incomplete.
And is incomplete by throwing behind him.
Yeah, one thing, although that was a bad ball there by Schlichte, trying to throw it back across his body there, I love the power look. If you look what happened there, backside guard number 66, Jared Gozin, pulls on that power play, but it's a play-action power pass. So they've ran power multiple times here and to great success. And as a good 5-yard gain there by Nate Gunn. Going back to that, by showing these looks, as I've said all game, they're going to show you the same thing at a different formation. And so by pulling that backside guard to show like you're running power off the right side again, there was no one around Nate Gunn. Fortunately, there was good coverage there by the Huskies on the back end. But he had all day to decide, just couldn't find the open receiver. But continue to see more and more of that, just keeping him off kiltered, off balance, and running the same thing at a different level.
As at the bottom of your screen here, Zylstra is the only wide receiver as they go no back. And Schlichte is looking for the freshman sample. And excuse me, that is Parker Glutemans. And it goes right through his hands, and that is dropped. As that could have been a very huge play, as it was only third and manageable there for the Mavericks. And Benarski comes out to punt for only his second time here this afternoon, as Benarski's first punt went only 32 yards.
Back to return the punt for the Huskies, number 26, James Smith.
And back to return for the Huskies is number 26, James Smith. And no, not much pressure from the Huskies, and Benarski's towering punt is waved off by Smith, but Smith will let it drop, and it takes a Mavericks bounce inside the 15. And Colby will down it, and here come the Huskies offense inside the 15.
I'm not a big special teams guy per se, nor have I ever spent much time on the special team side of the ball. But I think if we were at AT&T Bank Stadium out in Dallas, that may have scraped the Megatron hanging from the roof there. Just unbelievable what Benarski does for this team. Absolutely flipped the field, 50-plus yards there on that punt. And unreturnable ball, that Maverick punt team is in his face before he even had a chance to catch it. Just those are hidden things that make a great team even better there.
Yeah, and Benarski allowing his team with that hang time to get down there and not allow for a return. As Lewis runs to the left side for a gain of 5, but there is a flag on the play.
Tackle made by number 49, Alex Gettle.
And Alex Gettle there on the tackle.
Flag on the play.
And the refs are discussing here, and we're going to wait and see what this penalty
Illegal
is.
formation, offense, 5 in the backfield. 5-yard penalty from the previous spot.
And that is a costly mental error for the Huskies, as that puts them back 5 yards.
Yeah, this is with this invent of RPO and these fast-paced offenses that get up to the line quick and don't have their traditional huddle where they can really get the call in and communicate more effectively comparatively to going no huddle, is you're seeing more of these illegal procedure penalties at all levels, NFL too. players covering up the tight end, and then with tackles having to go against some pretty stout pass rushers, they try to get back as fast as possible. Sometimes don't cover up the hip of the guard or the center, which creates that illegal procedure there.
As they hand off to Lewis,
Number 3, Greg Lewis
as
on the
he
carry.
falls forward for a gain of 1. And it sets up second and about 15 still.
Tackle made by the Mavericks number 98, Chance Bowen.
The Huskies, as there's an injured Husky, and that is number 73, and we don't have him on our roster here is what it's looking like. So we're gonna see here as they're tending to the injured Husky, as he's able to get up under his own power, but still having some care with the help of his center, and he's not able to put any pressure on that right leg as 2 Huskies come in and help the aid of the injured Husky.
Yeah, that's one of the things there as an offensive lineman that, is probably your biggest fear, if you will, of, you got guys, running backs, fullbacks, and blockers coming and rolling up on your backside there, which is what it looked like. It's one of those things that is unexpected and really do some damage. And trust me, I know I've been demobilized a couple of times from getting rolled up on the back of the ankle. Let's hope he can get that worked off here and hopefully get back into the game for the Huskies.
And as we look on the sideline here, Jamie LaPlante is not having any of his gear on as he seems to be done for the afternoon. And that could be a little bit of a blow here for the Mavericks at the defensive end position. As Check is with the 2nd and 14 look, hands it off to Lewis. Lewis cuts back to the left, finding a little bit of running way, and there's a ball on the ground as some of the Mavericks are pointing.
Lewis on the carry.
And it's still in the hands of the Huskies as it's still 3rd down, but a gain of 5
On the play,
as
by the
Lewis
Huskies.
puts it on the carpet. And we're going to set up shop for a 3rd and 9 here for St. Cloud State.
Yeah, I give credit to Mr. Lewis there and number 3 in the backfield for them. He's done a fantastic job just running hard, being gritty. Although this offensive line hasn't given him much to work with, you got to commend the effort here by Gregory Lewis, being able to make a lot of nothing at that, too.
As the Huskies are inside their own 15, Check drops back, receives a little bit of pressure, and finds a receiver in the middle of the field as he throws on his back foot.
Check
And that is a
number
gain
18,
of 15
John
yards.
Pass.
Finding his receiver, John Pass, the 6'1", 193-pound
15-yard gain on
senior.
the play.
And that
First
is a
down.
move in the change for the Huskies as they're set up shop now at their own 29.
Yeah, I don't know if this is some commonplace, but it's starting to look a little reminiscent of that first half at Winona here. They're starting to find some gaps, pick them apart a little bit. Let's hope that injury that Jamie LaPlante, doesn't come back to hurt him too much as we get another big stop in the backfield by number 91, I believe, there.
Lewis
And
on
that
the
was
carry.
led by the number 91,
Stopped in the
Josh
backfield by number
Kaluski.
91, Josh Kaluski.
And he had the initial surge there for the Mavericks, this 6'3" sophomore out of Eagan, Minnesota.
Yeah, looking at this
3 yard loss on the
looking
play,
at that
2nd and
replay,
12.
so fast and explosive off the ball. Neither the center or guard were able to lay a hand on him, and that's what you get when you can disrupt and get after him like that right there.
As it's 2nd down and 12 here, the Huskies, as the handoff to Lewis, as Lewis has had himself a big day, finds a little bit of corner, and Palmy
Lewis
was
with the
going
carry
for
for the
that
Huskies.
rip, and he's brought down by Gettle
Tackle
and
made by number
Palmy.
9, Michael Palmy.
And then number
39,
32,
Alex Gettle.
Spencer Hermes, had a little bit to say about that as well, as it sets up a 3rd and manageable here for the Huskies, as they are looking to convert on
6-yard
another
gain on the
first
play.
down.
That's one of those plays there by an experienced defensive back. He had a big mismatch there with the guard pulling there to get to the edge. If he wasn't able to keep his hips and his butt towards the sideline and funnel it back in like he did, that had a chance to break big. But credit to being able to push that back into the purple.
As there's another offensive line ball down, and it's picked up by, I don't know. That looks like to be Husky ball, and they are signaling 4th down as the offensive lineman. Number 75, Tristan Kinder, falls on it as number 91, Josh Kaluski, almost ended up with the ball, but Kinder kind of scooped it up and bought it back. And this could change a little bit of the field position. And back to receive is Keyshawn Davis and Justin Arnold for the Maverick.
I'm gonna quote the rock opera singer Meatloaf here as Goddard came off the right side like a bat out of hell there, untouched and laying another walloping blow there as it punts away. 2 back again, and Arnold calls for the fair catch.
As Arnold receives that kick inside the 40, and we'll see who comes out for the Mavericks under center this drive, as it looks like it could be number 7, J.D. Akawa, as he looks to give a little spice as he ran it in for that first possession on the offensive side, even though it was only a 3-yard run, and that's where they got the ball on that turnover, and the run picked up fumble from Geller.
32 yards on the punt.
As Akawa comes in with a shotgun, gun to his left, and hands it off the gun, but it's an end around to Justin Arnold as Akawa's getting up there to block, and a little missed assignment there by Evan Hines.
Justin Arnold, the ball carrier,
as he gets it out for a 1 yard as Akawa goes downfield on that, and it looked like he could have had a big game, but that missed block proves to be a little bit of a key thing as Ferris, as number 97, Ferris Ingram was in there, and Akawa keeps it and runs to the left, brought down by number 32.
Penalty markers down.
Parker Buckley, and there's a penalty marker down on the field.
Yeah, it looks like we're going to get a holding call here. We're going back to that first play of this drive. Oh, wait. Yeah, it is a holding call. Yeah, going back to that first play, I'm not paid to make the offensive play calls here.
Number 86 on the offense. 10-yard penalty from the previous spot. 2nd down.
I think that was an unnecessary call there. You're getting a little too cute when you got a 25-point lead. Keep going with what's working. If you're going to run the ball, hand it off and make gun, and keep trusting that offensive line there. They've been dominating up front, and you can see all these defensive linemen for Husky, hands on the hips, and they know they're getting outmatched. Don't try to get cute with it. Keep doing what's working and stay successful. You're not in danger where you have to make those kind of plays.
As Akawa's back to pass, finds a freshman Sample, and the Sample's not going down easy, as it's about a gain of 8, and Jalen Sample, that's his 4th catch of the afternoon, and it's a 3rd down and about 13 here for the Mavericks, as Akawa is looking to keep this drive alive here, and they bring in Parker Bludemans, as it seems to me a clear passing situation, as the 2 lengthy receivers for Minnesota State are lined up at the bottom of your screen in Zylstra and Sample. As Akawa drops back, receives some pressure, finds Zylstra, and it's caught for a 1st down. That is a huge 1st down and a confidence booster for Akawa in the passing game.
Yeah, watch this replay here. They rolled the coverage on middle safety to come down and create the illusion that they're double teaming there. But the athleticism and speed, able to break through that double team. Just a great job by number 84, Shane Zylstra. Really experienced route runner, and he proved it there. Lined up in the slot, can line up all over the place and make plays all over the place, and that's what he just did, was make play.
And the handoff to Gunn goes up the middle, and then there's a gain of 5. As it says 2nd and 5, and Minnesota State's in business And they're rumbling right now, but they could be stumbling here in a little bit. And we'll see as they're in the pistol formation, as it's a keeper, and Ikawa looks for Zylstra, and as Zylstra under pressure comes up with a massive one-handed catch, and that is a gain of 15 as Zylstra runs out of bounds, and he's pushed out of bounds, and that'll be the end of this third quarter, as it seems to be, that was a pretty even quarter here in the scheme of things of scoring and offensive play. But the big key factor there was the interception and the fumble recovered by Minnesota State, which led them to that 14-point third quarter.
Yeah, you know, one thing here, when you're in this kind of situation and you're up big or you're up multiple scores, such as Minnesota here today, you're gonna kind of pull back the reins a little bit in terms of your aggressiveness. You want to be able to keep everything up in front of you and be able to come up and make those tackles. Having trust in those guys at the linebacker to go sideline to sideline and make those tackles is one thing they're doing here. So a couple big gashers, but overall that was a long scoring drive for the Huskies, which, you know, took up a majority of that third quarter here. And again, as I alluded to earlier, the Schlichtier, but in this case, Ikawa connection with Shane Zylstra. I mean, the guy, it's unbelievable. He was much on that last catch here before the end of the quarter. He was like a low post player in basketball. Used the sideline and boxed out the defender to make another great catch on the sideline. And let's see if we can convert again in the red zone. Jet sweep going around the right edge. Good effort on the run to get about 4 there. And they're calling for another fumble. But they're going to say he is down. And that's another thing, as I was talking about earlier there, that's exactly what I thought the Minnesota offense was going to do. You saw that jet motion earlier in the game. They just dumped it off there and got a little 5-yard gain in the flat. But there, this time, they timed it up and got a good jet sweep handoff. Not quite the result they wanted, but you can see this implementation of the offense here is working out fine. And the game plan is going just smoothly as we're inside the 15 now. See what JD can do. Little play action rollout. Caught it, Justin Arnold, right at the first down marker. I think the ref is going to give him that forward progress there, or it looks like it's a bit short here. But great job. Hey, that was a great job by Trevor Nissen there, coming out and making contact, giving a chip on that guy to give enough time for JD Ikawa to get through and make a great pass to Justin Arnold here. We got a 3rd and short. I say put it in the hands of this offensive line that's just been absolutely dominated up front. The great work by both guards today for this Minnesota State offense. I put it right there as we got 2 upbacks and a tight end to the right. Jumbo formation at its finest. Play action pass. JD looking. Makes a play. Great play to number 22. Ian Scribble. Name you don't hear called very often. But again, in that jumbo formation, coming out, rolling out. Each man's running a great route to get space in between the secondary. And another 6 points for this Maverick offense. Absolute fantabulous job there.
As Benarski comes out for his 7-point after attempt here this afternoon, as the Mavericks go up 41-10. And Benarski, extra point, goes over the hill.
The extra point is good.
And a bunch of the kiddos on the hill are decided to go after a chase. And I think one of those kids that came up with the ball, I think the ball was about the size of his torso. And it's super funny that you kind of see that, and you just love to see the kids out here in the atmosphere here at Blakely Stadium is very, very family-like, as it is homecoming. And as we take a look here at the third quarter stats, not much has changed for the offensive side of Minnesota State. But the big factor is the 90 yards of offense brought to you by that touchdown drive of Lewis Gregory, that 19-yard touchdown run, which was 8 plays and 65 yards, and that accounted for that 90 yards of offense in that third quarter for the Huskies.
Yes, just a great job again by the Maverick offense all day. Right there, you can see again and again, as I've said, the different formational looks, the different little wrinkles in each of these formation plays to make these big plays happen. And of course, all the credit up to the Hogs up front, giving plenty of time today and doing a great job of sliding protection on these play action passes. And again, Schlichty, or rather JD on that play, setting up the team properly to get a wide open look and all the time in the world on that rollout there.
As we just saw here, that new rule, if you fair catch it inside the 25-yard line, they set up shop at the 25, and that was the shortest kickoff that we've seen from Benarski this afternoon, but it still counts as a touchback, which is super weird because he received it with inside the 15. And to me, I don't know, it's gonna be some time to get used to that scene for a lot of football fans, especially lovers of the NCAA. As Czech comes out here to start this somewhat high-powered offense for St. Cloud State, as number 42, Matt Winters was on the carry, and we're not seeing Lewis in the backfield, as Lewis is the leading rusher, as he is 100 yards rushing even on the day, and that is something that I don't think Minnesota has seen all year, is a 100-yard rusher, which is particularly unusual, as Czech hands it off to Winters, and he is stuffed right away by number 93, Jake Shaper.
Yeah, one thing I see here with the Husky offensive line, to simplify and try to create a better look, they've gone to a down blocking scheme here, where backside is doing a backside cutoff on the defensive end, trying to get to the backside linebacker here, trying to simplify it, because quite frankly, the Huskies offensive line has had a poor performance on any kind of double team to second level blocks today, and that's just an ode to the greatness of this defensive line and the rotation they have.
As it sets up a 3rd and 10, as Czech looks deep to his receiver and dropped. The intended receiver was Nate Ginza, and he had separation from the junior cornerback, Jack Curtis, as that could have been almost one of the best plays and a huge game breaker for the Huskies on that offensive side.
Yeah, I think we saw there that far corner got peeking in the backfield here, kind of left that free safety out on the island there, and he didn't do a good job back there of getting his head back and seeing where he was. It was kind of almost a blown coverage in a cover 2 there.
As Nate Arnold let that drop, and that goes out of bounds around the 39-yard line, is that they will give him that mark. And as it kind of was going out of bounds, it went back upfield, and it was particularly unusual bounce, but it's that, like you said earlier in the broadcast, that Australian style of punting that they go to. So as Akawa, and this is the first time this afternoon that a Mavericks quarterback has came in for consecutive series, which is something unusual that's happened this afternoon, as they normally just rotate every other drive, as a handoff to Gunn, jump cuts up the middle for a gain of a couple.
Yeah, and you said it there, Akawa coming in again. I think at this stage in the game, being up 32 points, he brings more to the table of what you need here. And by what that means, he's another running threat. Here you're trying to whittle down that clock. You're almost under 2:10 minutes now. And, having more running threats, guys that can stick their head down and get a few more yards and move those chains, I think is what Coach Jehovah Shorn was looking at here.
As Akawa is under center, hands it off to the first time we've called his name, and it's the fresh legs of number 6, Justin Taramina, as he gains 7, and it's a 3rd and short here for the Mavericks, and that's the first time we've seen Taramina's name here in the ballgame.
Yeah, it's nice to see Justin finally get in the game here. But wow, what a job by number 64, Jack Russell, coming over from the left guard. Absolutely caved in the defensive end on the chip, and was a great job keeping the feet moving up to the linebacker to spring that for almost a first down.
as Barnes and Sample are the wide receivers, is the handoff to Taramina, and he will lose yards on the play as he is stopped in the backfield for a loss of 1, and that sets up 4th down for the Mavericks, and the offense is staying on the sidelines here as Coach Todd Hoffner is taking some time, and then now he decides to go with the punting unit.
Yeah, you're going to make them look to see what you're doing. You slow it down. You know what you're going to do, so you can get it done accordingly a lot quicker by then. As you saw, they brought in a different sub-package here because they at first thought they were going to go for it, but that's kind of a smart little nuance there. You make that defense react, or have to react quicker rather, and as you can see, for exactly what I'm talking about, Coach for the Huskies has to call a timeout here because they were all over the place. They brought in the big defensive tackles here for that 4th down that they thought they were going to go, and those are the little things, again, that help, that make these a great team even better. That's just a great coaching decision. They knew they were going to punt that whole time, but wait, because you don't need 15, 20 seconds to get a punt off. You can just wait out there, you know what you're going to do, and you can make them sub and put in a whole defensive package that you know you weren't even going to run again. So I think that's another little nuance by the Maverick coaching staff that just adds in another element to what they can do offensively.
And as the score reads, it is 42-10 with 10 minutes left. But and you said the Huskies are trying to play spoiler still. I mean, we've seen crazier things happen in sports, but down 32, you want to say that they still have a chance, which obviously there is, because this is the world. This is, what we live in, and, odd things happen every single day. As Benarski punts it and just shoved into as he receives it inside the 5 and tackled by Palmy as
tackle made by number 9, Michael Palmy.
It was extremely good tackle. It was a great open field tackle as the receiver from St. Cloud State wanted a flag for a horse collar, but they didn't want to give him that. As we get Czech back in the ball game, and still
48 yards
we get
on the punt, 6 yards on the return. 1st down and 10 for the Huskies at their own 10-yard line.
As we are looking here, still all defensive starters are in for the Mavericks, as Winters is the ball carrier, met and tackled by John Kaluski, and that is a gain of 2.
On the carry for the Huskies.
And that was a great penetration by Kaluski to make that tackle.
Yeah, this is something I'm kind of thrown off here by the St. Cloud offense here. I was speaking earlier at halftime how a team can become one-dimensional in a lopsided affair such as this. You often don't see a team rely more on the run here when you talk about becoming one-dimensional, but I think they're just trying to keep this game from getting even sloppier than it already has been for them. Great pursuing effort there by the defense. One thing that they've done, and I think Coach Glogowski noticed here, with that down blocking scheme, you're leaving a free rusher coming off the backside end. And great job and kudos to the linebacking staff in the secondary here, playing over the top and coming downhill once they recognize the play. Great read and react by the defense. And another 3rd and long here, and where Minnesota thrives at 75% of the time of getting off the field. Let's see if they can stop them again and get the ball back and go in for another 6.
As that was a great play by the sophomore, Cole Schrodemeyer, as Czech looked down the middle, and that is picked by number 33, Brady Tuckner, as that is the 2nd interception for the Mavs and the 2nd of the ball game. The 1st for Tuckner, but the 4th turnover for the Mavericks defense. And this is particularly a high energy that we were missing in the 1st quarter, but that just alludes to, again, to the slow start by the Mavericks. And as J.D. Akawa comes back on with nobody in the backfield. And he's under center, and there Todd Hafner looks nothing, and there is nobody in the backfield as he will use his first time out of the half.
Timeout, Minnesota State Mankato.
And that timeout comes in with 8:44 to go in the game, and there was a little bit of confusion as we didn't even have a tailback. And a little bit of confusion. Todd Hofstra was not really pleased about using a timeout there, as he kind of wanted to go and say, stuff it down the throats of St. Cloud State.
Yeah, you know, getting into this game and you're getting some backups in and getting some other role players in the game. Little personnel communication. You don't like to see that, but it happens. But going back to that interception, great effort on catching the ball and making a play and breaking down on it. But the real play goes to number 97, Vidal Nava, and linebacker number 55, Destin Woody. Unbelievable job. Looking here, coming off the edge. He has to take one step up and get rid of it quickly. And that was not when he wanted to throw it. Just an unbelievable job, making a break downhill, reading that crossing route, and a great job by the defensive line and blitz package.
As the handoffs to Barnes, Barnes finds some room up the right sideline, and he's brought out of bounds by number 8 here.
Tackle made by number 8, Ben Gutschaw.
And that's Ben Helschaw. And that is a first down for Minnesota State as they are in the red zone yet again.
MAVRIK.
As they are here, and J.D. Akawa has really turned it on here in the second half after that somewhat subpar first half performance, as he's got 3 wide receivers out. And handoff to Taramina. Taramina follows his blockers and goes straight up the gut in a gain of 7.
Yeah, I like what we're seeing here. This is exactly what Minnesota State wants to do here in the fourth quarter. Grind it, be able to just turn your back, hand the ball off, and keep wearing down this Husky defense. Looks like we got an injured defensive lineman. I think it's unfortunate happened and got rolled up on again. Worse fear inside the trenches. But being able to have this many running threats, and Taramina and Nate Gunn, who is one of the best in the nation in Division II, 5th overall in rushing yards, again, averaging $107 a game. When you can do that, you really, really wear down a team, as you're seeing fatigue set in all over the place for the Huskies. Guys, hands on the hips everywhere. Just a great offensive performance. But again, on that last play, they had me fooled. I thought Taramina had the ball going up the left sideline. But it goes back again to all the different looks formationally, and you run the same play, if you will, 3-4 times throughout that first half. And then you come back with your plan B in that formation, in that play call, and it worked to perfection. Not so much there as he gets swallowed up real quick.
Justin Taramina on the carry.
Third down looks like it's going to be from the 9.
As that injured Husky on the play was Skylar Kurt, the nose guard, 5'11", 315 junior, as he heads to the bench holding his back. As we hope that
no gain on the play,
he gets well soon. You know, we really hate to see that to anybody, let alone any injuries at all. As Akawa's in the shotgun with Taramina to his right. Akawa looking left for Barnes, and that goes right through Barnes' hands as it was thrown behind him, as Barnes had to jump, and it sets up a 4th down, and here comes Benarski. And Benarski, this is his first field goal attempt of the afternoon, as they could have went for one earlier, but they converted on 3rd down, as it was a 3rd down and quite long in the Husky territory, but it resulted in the touchdown for the Mavericks, so I think they're fine without using Benarski.
When you have the ability and wherewithal to know you can get 6 over 3, you're going to take it. 2 for 4 on the season here, and missed from 57 to 48 early at Augustana, and bangs it through. The guy's almost automatic. You watch it over practice. He's lining up 65-yard field goals, not under pressure or no rush, but has the leg and sending it over the fence in the parking lot. If you've been here to the fields at Minnesota State that are a good 10, 15 yards behind the practice field goal. So he has the range from 70 in practice, but almost automatic from inside the 40 with Benarski. And again, that's one thing, you know, kicking is kicking no matter what division or where you are. 40 yards is 40 yards in D3, and 40 yards is the same as it is in the NFL. Having a weapon like that you know you can go get 3 in a situation, hopefully will prove dividends later on in the season as you get to start looking forward a little bit to playoffs here if things keep going up in conference play. That's one of those, another piece of the puzzle that's good to have to make the whole picture.
Casey Bednarski makes it Mavericks 45, Huskies 10.
Bednarski is not out there to do the kicking duties, as we have a new kicker, number 26, Luke Williams,
Back for the
is
Huskies,
set
number
to
12,
kick.
Tanner Tigey, and number 26, James Smith.
And back is number 12, Tigey, as Williams gives a little pooch kick as it's fair caught inside the 35, as the Huskies, as he gives them, whoa, I don't know where he's giving them, but it looks, they're saying the 34, but they're going to give him the 30, as it looked like he fair caught it on the 32, but there was some confusion with everybody, was the refs, the players, and even the markers. And I think that's the first time I've ever seen that, as Czech comes in and hands it off to number 22.
Number 22, Paris Howell on the carry.
And they're going to get a holding call here on St. Cloud, as we are going to wait to see here to see what the referee has to tell us.
Holding, number 77 on the offense. 10-yard penalty, let's go first down.
And that is holding on Chris Antoine, 6 foot 3, 300-pound sophomore. And that is another costly penalty, as it says a first and 20, as that play is mute. And here we go, as now we got the backups in here for Minnesota State as the second defensive team, and a couple of second string wide receivers here for the Huskies, as the handoff goes up the middle, met by Chance Bowen.
Paris Howell on the carry.
And that was Paris Hall on the carry for a gain of about 2.
Yeah, one thing
that
really benefits a great team like Minnesota State, and I think really helps further the development of these young players, is having a deep 8-man rotation at defensive line where there's no letdown in the run defense and the pass rush here, and allows these guys to operate efficiently and like the starters do in the secondary there. It creates good development and gives them a chance. As you can see, we got man coverage here across the board, at least showing man here, where they put these young corners out on the island and hopefully give them a chance. But again, a big play. Wow. Hopefully we get to see this replay. We get a late hit here. I don't know how there's not a flag. If we get this replay here, number 97, watch here on the left defensive tackle, takes that double team. Look at him pushing both right back into the lap. Now, I've never played running back, and I probably don't have the best agility, but when you have one man that can put 2 of your offensive linemen in your lap, chances are you're not going to go anywhere, much like that play. Unbelievable play by Badal Naba, number 97. Absolutely fantastic. Just pure strength there.
As it's 3rd and a country mile here for St. Cloud State, as Paris Hall gets the delayed handoff, and Chance Bowen meets him as soon as he gets the ball, as it's 4th down, and the Huskies are going to have to punt, as Keyshawn Davis is set back to punt as the clock ticks under 5 minutes. And another punt here for the Huskies,
4-yard loss
as Keyshawn Davis is set up on his side of the 50.
Is number 36, Keyshawn Davis.
As the punt goes, and there's no Australian punting style, as Keyshawn Davis will let this go, and it keeps rolling, and it took a really good Husky bounce, as that field was completely flipped as he punts it from inside the 5, and it rolls to the 20, which is quite a remarkable change in the field position, as if the Mavericks want to do something, they're going to have to go 80 yards.
61 yards.
Yeah, well, how I look at that in 2 good lights is that when one of your better plays is a punt as a team, you know you've had a rough day. And then this just gives them more room, in my opinion, to burn off these last 4.5 minutes here. So hopefully hold on to the ball, run it, get a couple first downs, and let's ice this game and go have some fun here on homecoming.
As the clock says 4:30, is a handoff to Taramina.
Justin Taramina, the ball carrier.
He runs pretty tough, as he's just like Nate Gunn somewhat when he runs. He's a more north and south runner instead of east and west. And that's something
Tackle
that,
made by number 7,
you know,
Tyler Kluge.
Pribble is the same way.
6-yard
When they
gain on
use
the play,
Pribble
second down.
in an offense, it's, you have 3 runners that are the same, but they're not. Gunn is the more explosive, you know, runner. Taramina's more the finesse, but Pribble is that guy that if you want that 3rd and short, 3rd and inches, you know, type run, he's gonna manhandle it and get the first down, as it's a first down run by Taramina off that right side, as that's gonna move the chains, and that was an incredible block from Minnesota State.
26,
And
James Smith.
and
25,
number 78
Noah Sabukin.
for Minnesota State. It was
10
Keegan
yards gain on the
Stanley
play.
with that
And a
massive,
Maverick
like, bear
first
hug
down.
block.
He took care of business there. That's kind of like when, you know, you got too many people getting rowdy out the club, the bouncer has to come and say, time to get out. As he came around on that power block, he said, it's time for you to leave and for us to get a first down and ice this game.
As the handoff to Taramina goes straight and into the linebacking core for
Taramina, the ball
St.
carrier.
Cloud State, as that is a gain of 6 for Taramina, as Taramina seems to be running rampant
Tackle made by number 54,
for
Riley Schrader.
the Huskies
Number
this
7,
time, as there's a new
Tyler
back
Kluge.
that comes into the play, as it's
6-yard gain
Charles
on the play,
Terry
second down.
IV, as we called his name quite a bit against Concordia St. Paul, but none last week, as it was a close affair against Winona State. And Akawa is in the shotgun with 3 wide receivers. And the handoff to Terry goes to the right, and he finds some running room, and he breaks a few tackles. And that's a gain of 14 for Terry the fourth, but that was his first carry of the game. And that moves the chains and can help isolate this game here for Minnesota
Tackle made by
State.
number 26,
All
James
day,
Smith.
all day. Fantastic
14-yard
performance
gain
by
on the
offensive
play,
line.
and
And you got
Maverick.
some of the reserves coming in on the offensive line, and there's been absolutely no drop-off here. If you're watching this, you're seeing Huskies having to pick themselves, 2-3 Huskies having to pick themselves up off the ground today, and just dominating fashion. It's like where's the coach for a high school team that gives his offensive lineman a shot of maple syrup? Ooh, quite a response there on that tackle.
Number 29, Charles Terry.
But overall, this is just impressive offensive line play. Couldn't ask for much better.
As the offensive line for Minnesota State has
Tackle made by
played
number
well
44,
all throughout the
Devin
day.
Kozanowski.
It was just the execution part on the side of
1 yard
Minnesota
gain.
State that
Second
was
down.
very, very inconsistent, but they found it. Thank you to that defense and that momentum shift, as Braven Kaiser comes into the game for Minnesota State after that first down pickup, as Terry is met in the backfield but breaks loose and finds some running
Charles
way,
Terry, the ball carrier
and that is
for
a
the
gain of
Mavericks.
5 for Terry, as it sets up a 3rd and 4.
Tackle made by number 54,
Yep, good,
Riley
excellent
Schrader.
effort there. Getting the foot in the ground and getting upfield, knowing it'd be a bad situation to take a negative play, able to get around
5-yard
that one
gain on the
tackle
play,
and make
third
it
down
a
and
very
4.
manageable 3rd down here. They get this first down. It's over. I can finally say a fat lady has sung today, but let's end it without having the punt.
As the clock ticks under a minute, as the game clock reads 9, as Braven Kaiser and the offense are just kind of standing around waiting for it. And 2-1 as he gets the snap off and hands it to Terry, as Terry runs up the gut for a couple,
Charles Terry,
and
the
that
ball
sets
carrier.
up 4th down for the purple and the gold on this homecoming
Tackle made by
afternoon,
number 91,
as the
Mitch
fans
Pelkey.
rise and start giving applause as the game clock reads 20 and the game clock reads about the same, as they're just going to let this tick down, and that's the ball game as Minnesota State comes out on homecoming here in 2018 and just wallops the St. Cloud Huskies.
Overall, great performance on all facets of the game. One thing with this Minnesota team that I think they slow played, if you will, in the beginning of the game. Kind of take it in, see what is going to get thrown at them, and then the coaching staff, all the applause go to them, able to make just great adjustments all game long, putting the players in the perfect places to make prime plays. And just great execution, had a little trouble early on with some ball security. They'll definitely talk to him about that, and I'm sure you'll see Coach Cunningham out of practice with his boxing glove on a stick, trying to punch that ball out more so this week than any other week. Just dominating performance, and what you would expect out of a #1 team playing against an inferior opponent in St. Cloud Huskies.
And on the season, the Mavericks improved to 5-0, both in overall and in conference play, as St. Cloud State does the same with their record, but they dropped to 3-2 in both records. As it was kind of a cold afternoon here at Blakesley Stadium here in Mankato, Minnesota. The Mavericks are victorious, and the fans go home happy, and so did the alumni that were inducted to the Mankato State Hall of Fame here today at halftime. And it's just an overall great day here and a great atmosphere here on homecoming as Mankato gets the win, and they continue their power surge through this NSIC conference. And as we are here today, Mankato State wallops St. Cloud State Huskies 45-10. Thank you guys for listening on the Maverick Broadcasting Network. Watching Maverick football, I'm Brian Kelly.
Jordan O'Grady.
And thank you guys for joining in this afternoon as you guys go home, stay safe, and stay warm. Thank you and good evening.